Hi everybody, my name is Syeda Tasmia Tahia and I work as the Executive Officer for the Resources Division at a government department called UK Export Finance. But more importantly, I am a Business Admin Level 4 apprentice, also known as a Higher Apprentice. And today I'm here as a young ambassador for apprenticeships to talk to you guys about my experience as apprenticeships, how I got into apprenticeships, and also probably share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So I hope you enjoy my presentation. First of all, I would like to talk to you guys about a day in my typical work life. So this varies every day because the department that I work for is quite small in comparison to other government departments, which means I get to see a whole different range of different activities within my organization. I get to wear different hats and participate in different groups. I get to train others. I get to receive training from others as well. A lot of my day-to-day work is supporting people with very complex HR-related queries, whether they're at the very start of their journey at UK Export Finance or they're leaving the organization and everywhere in between, including when they've been working from home and in the preparation for the pandemic, in the preparation for any incident or any event as well. I get to work with senior colleagues, so I get to learn a lot from them. I also get to support people, so I get some very helpful comments like the one you guys can see at the bottom. I also get to talk to people and do presentations, to do awareness, for example. So this is a representative picture of when I would do briefings to people or do presentations to, introduce new topics and ideas to them. Another thing I'm very proud of at work is I'm a mental health first aider, so I get to also participate in the well-being side of things. I get to work with colleagues and help colleagues not only by providing direct mental health first aid, but also organizing more awareness activities and organizing events like the poster you see over here, where I organized a Time to Talk event for our colleagues, like a coffee sharing event. And as part of all of this, recently I got nominated for the BAME Apprenticeship Awards, and I am a finalist apprentice, so hopefully I get to hear soon if I make it or not, and I can give you an update on that if you're interested. I want to talk about my journey to this role. So the photo you see on the left over here is a photo that I took for my very first ever apprenticeship interview back in 2015. So I'd applied for an apprenticeship interview at BBC, well, an apprenticeship position at BBC, went through all the different steps and I got an interview. Long story short, I didn't make it. And at that point, if you had told me that 5 years on, I'd be standing at the same spot, waiting to be interviewed as part of National Apprenticeship Week to very much do what I'm doing right now, talk about my journey as an apprentice, I really wouldn't have believed it. And if you had told that to the girl sitting here at A-levels, it would never have even occurred to me that doing apprenticeships is even an option. I went to a very selective sixth form, a state sixth form, but even before that, when I went to a comprehensive school, the whole idea that I was always told about was university, and the journey of that ultimately meant that I ended up applying to university, not really liking the course I was doing, and some things happened 2 months in where I just felt this was not what I want to do. This is not, I was not happy with the experience, and I left from there, and I then did some part-time work before I started looking into apprenticeships and ended up here. So I hope that's something that people can remember when they make those decisions. For me, apprenticeships are a great option because I really love my job, I really love my experience, but I wanted to share why that's important for me. So apprenticeships for me is very important and very great because it's a real employment, it's a real job. It's not, I'm not there as an intern, I'm not there as a trainee, I'm there as a real employee, doing real work, learning real things. I get to make decisions, so that in itself is a great opportunity because I get to see different parts of the organization. I get to have a holistic view of what's happening, understand how different parts of the organization work together. But equally, this also then helps me build on my own skills, helps me build my own understanding of my industry, and really paves my own kind of understanding to support me making the next decisions in my next steps in my career. It also means I get to learn from colleagues. So I get to work with very senior colleagues. I get to work with colleagues on the same level and also junior colleagues. And the experience of working with all these different people in these multi-skilled teams means I get to learn so much from each and every person that I work with. And I also am networking, so I get to learn about opportunities from them. One of the things that has come out of it is working with some colleagues. We've come up with our very own BAME network at work, for example, and the people, I got nominated to be one of the spokespersons for the network. So again, that was something that came out of working with different colleagues and others kind of appreciating the skills that I have, something that I personally would never have put up my hand and said, this is something I can do. So that's been a really big opportunity and also a big benefit for me. Also, I get to improve my own skills and I get to have new learning. So the whole idea of apprenticeship is that you're going to learn new things. You're going to learn about a new skill or learn about a subject. So doing the business admin apprenticeship means I'm learning constantly and I can implement each of those little new bits of learning into my day-to-day work, making me a better employee, but also making me a more skilled person. And lastly, it gives me a work-life balance. So if I were to be working full-time and then doing a degree or then doing a separate qualification, I would have to work extra hard and I would have to cut out the time that I have for my personal life, with my family, with my friends. Whereas being an apprentice means I get to have 1 day a week, so 20% of my actual paid work time to do my learning, to do my assignments, to do my extra reading. And that in itself is a great opportunity for me because I can then spend other time with my family, doing other things that I like, you know, doing things that I enjoy. And that means I get to have a more balanced life. So talking a little bit about the recruitment process. So personally, the recruitment process that I went through was an online application, which included a CV, personal statement. There was something called success profiles. These will depend on different topics that you pick or whatever organization you apply for. It would be kind of questions based on your based on relevant skills for the role. It would also include something along the lines of a judgment situational judgment test. So mine was called civil service judgment test. Yours could be called a situational judgment test, which includes things like giving you day-to-day scenarios where and how you would react. And then there was also a verbal and numerical, which is English and maths competency test. And then finally there was an assessment center and then final interview, which all culminated in me getting my role. Some roles might not have all that many steps. Some of them might only have an online application. Some of them might have an interview, and some of them might have a mix of them all. But I think each of the steps have their own different value to it. But the thing to remember always with the recruitment process is that the reason why they're putting out a recruitment is because they want someone to be there. They're not there to catch you out. They're there to support you through the process. So if you ever feel that you need to ask a question, if you ever feel that there's something that's going to prevent you from doing your best performance, make sure you let them know, because they will put in mitigations for you, or they can support you in other ways. And always, if you're not sure about a question, ask them to read the question or explain it in a different way. They're always happy to do that. And recruiters, particularly as someone who now works within the HR area, I can see how recruitment works. And I see that, you know, as recruiters, people really want to support the best candidate to come out and to help you do your best in that application and in that process, however that might be. One top tip for me is to read the job description, read your application, read up on the values and aims of the company, see if this is the role for you, see if this is the company for you. And also, before you start doing your application, think about examples where you can relate to the skills and the ideas that are coming up in the actual job description to your own experience. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to have loads of professional experience. It can be any experience from your personal life, from your experience of doing voluntary activities, from your school or college life, and anything else in between, as long as it's kind of linking to those key skills that they're looking for. A note on assessment centers. So a lot of people are scared of assessment centers. Personally, I was scared of assessment centers as well, which meant that I did a lot of them, in the sense that I applied to Barclays, RBS, I applied to BBC, like I said, also applied to the civil service, and by the end of it, I had passed all of those assessment centers. But the thing to remember is when I first applied for each of them, I didn't make it, and for me it was like the end of the world, and I felt like this is the end, I don't know how to do it. But every time you feel that you're not able to do something, reflect back on the experience and think about where things have gone wrong or where things can be improved. Also, don't ever shy away from asking for feedback, because recruiters love that, and they can provide you with tips that you can make use of in the next time you apply. And in my experience, something that I've personally found very valuable was personal leadership. When you're in that assessment center, it is about leadership, but leadership isn't about the loudest voices. It's about the person who's taking those notes. It's also about the person who's reading all the instructions, the person who's keeping the team to time, saying, guys, we don't have that long to discuss on this. The person who's standing up for others, the person who's making sure that not one person is taking control of the whole thing and making sure everyone gets to have their opinions across. It's so much more than just being able to solve the questions in there. It's more about displaying these values, these skills, because ultimately these are the skills that we really use at work, and everything else we can learn along the way. But being able to be a team player and being able to look out for the team is key, is absolutely essential in succeeding in an apprenticeship, but in any role in general. So the last words from me are some advice from me in my experience. First of all, never be afraid to learn. Even if something hasn't gone the right way, make sure you use it as a learning opportunity and learn something from it, whether it's by asking people for feedback, whether it's reflecting on your experience, whether it's trying to do it again. Always be open to learning. The other point being, no question is a bad question. If you're confused about something, always ask that question, because you might not be the only one asking that question, and that in itself can make you stand out from everyone else as being the first person to notice a problem or notice or understand that something's wrong. Don't be afraid to get involved in as much as you can. So whether it's extracurricular and voluntary activities, or whether it's within the workplace when you get your role, being involved in different groups and different activities, always be open to doing some extra things, because that will always add new skills to your life. And with that, it goes without saying, be open-minded and say yes to opportunities. A lot of the times we say no because we think we've not got all the right skills. But the truth is, even if you are not 100%, you can learn those skills along the way, and it will be your learning opportunity. So never be afraid to say yes to an opportunity. Always remember the bigger picture. Think about what is going to be the next step for yourself, and it's never necessary that you're going to continue on the same role. Some people do, some people, in fact, most people continue working with the same employer after they complete their apprenticeship, but you don't have to think of it as your be all and end all, that if I get this apprenticeship, that's it, that's where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. Be open to taking everything at one step at a time, but equally think about how it fits into the bigger picture of who you are and who you want to be. And lastly, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be persistent. That's something that I've learned along the way, and I'm still learning, and I hope you will consider apprenticeship as a part of your learning journey and your next step.